Chapter 1, Part 2, All About the Sound. We're starting on page 19. In Chapter 3, I'm going to briefly introduce you to the International Phonetic Alphabet and refer you to videos done by others to help you practice pronouncing those 44 plus sounds. You will see as we proceed, unlike other languages, English does not always sound like it looks. That can be confusing, even to people who have been speaking English all their lives. Phonetic awareness, phonological awareness, and phonics help us to get past that confusion. These 3 P's will take you beyond sight recognition to an understanding of how each word sounds, is spelled, and why. Looking at the sounds in word chunks. English words are made up of word chunks, segments, or parts. These are often called syllables. Each word part has a letter or a combination of letters that represent a particular sound. The grapheme is the letter combination representing the sound. The sound, of course, is the phoneme. Awareness of the sound each set of letters make in a word part or syllable helps us to identify the word in our ears, pronounce it better through our mouth, remember it better with our brains, and later write it better from memory with our hands, spelling. The sounds are just as important, if not more so, than the letters we see. A word equals a syllable plus a syllable plus a syllable. A phoneme plus a phoneme plus a phoneme is equal to a syllable. Building and breaking down words. We build the components of language when we are speaking, writing, and spelling so we can get a clear message to someone else. We break down the components of language when we read and listen so we can understand the message we are getting from someone else. What are the components of language? The components of language are our words. Words make sentences, sentences make paragraphs, paragraphs make stories, essays, articles, speeches, and conversations. It is through words that we communicate and share meaning and message. Words are important, and understanding how they work in language is even more important. What is a word? Words are a combination of letters from the alphabet that create a certain meaning. It is important to know that the letters used to make words only represent the true essence or component of every language, and that is the sound. Language is sound. Letters of alphabets came to be as a way of expressing this sound in writing and written communication. It started with the sound and moved to written symbols. All words are broken down into letters, and letters are just symbols that represent sound. These letters that represent sound are known as graphemes. If we do not understand the symbolic relationship between words and sounds, we do not have a full grasp of any language, spoken or written. Phonemes are the smallest sound components of language. Graphemes are the smallest written components of language that represent sound. Our intention with language is to be able to send and receive a clear message of meaning. To do that, we need to be able to utilize these sounds as building blocks or bricks that build words. We build these messages of meaning in code when we are speaking, writing, and spelling. We break down and deconstruct these messages word by word, phoneme by phoneme, when we try to decode the messages in them. Decoding is understanding the meaning of what was said or written. We build and code the components of language when we are speaking, writing, and spelling to get a clear message to someone else. We break down, decode the components of language when we read and listen to understand the meaning of the message we are getting from someone else. Constructing and deconstructing. We can look at what we are reading, writing, hearing, speaking in English as an apartment building full of apartments. Each apartment has a room or several rooms. Each room in that apartment can be further divided into sound sections, phonemes. A phoneme is a sound in a room, in an apartment building. When we are writing, spelling, or interacting, we are constructing the building words, sentences, paragraphs. Each phoneme is the basic building block or brick that we use to build our building. When we are reading or listening, we have the finished building and we need to deconstruct, tear the building down. We break down paragraphs into sentences, sentences into words, and words right down to the basic building block, the phoneme. We do this as we seek the meaning of what is being said or read. If we, as carpenters, knew how to both construct, build, and deconstruct, tear down a building quickly and efficiently, we would master our trade. If we knew how to build and break down words as English speakers, we would master the English language. The 3P process will teach us the trade. It will help us to encode and decode the English language. From words to word parts. To gain a better understanding of English that goes beyond recognition or memorization, we must change our focus. We must focus on smaller components. Instead of focusing on building or tearing down an entire apartment building at once, we focus instead on each word. Then, instead of focusing entirely on words we can recognize by sight, we need to start focusing on the sounds we can hear in word parts. Each word is like an apartment inside the building. Some apartments have many rooms. These are words with multiple syllables. And some apartments have one room, just one syllable. These are one-syllable words. Words, syllables, word chunks, word parts, sounds. Word parts? Each word can be broken down into rooms inside the apartment we are building or tearing down. Words can be broken down or chunked into syllables or word rooms. These word rooms can be broken down even further into sound parts. The smallest component of English is the phoneme. As we learn more and more about the 3P process, we are going to go, then, from sight to sound, and from entire word to word part. It is all about the sound. Word to word part. Word work. Though we will mostly be focusing on one-syllable words so we can understand the process of phonetics, sounding out what we read, it is good to know the process of tearing down and building down our word rooms in words with more than one syllable. Let's look at the building and tearing down of words into word parts, then the turning of word parts into sounds as our word work. Note, I'll be using syllable, word room, and word part interchangeably throughout this text to mean the same thing. Do not worry about understanding all of this now. I am just introducing you to the process we'll be undertaking as we proceed. The steps to the word work process will be like this. Number 1, create or review your floor plan for the apartment you are working on. The word is one apartment in your building. Determine if you have or want more than one room in your word. Each word part that has a vowel sound will be a separate room. How many rooms, syllables does this word have? How many word chunks are you hearing or reading? If you are writing, spelling, or speaking, determine how many syllables you will need to build for the word you are about to use. How many syllables? Number 2, if you are reading or listening, break the word down into chunks, syllables, word parts, or rooms. We will discuss in detail how to do that later. Chunk, divide. Number 3, once you've divided your word apartment into separate rooms or word parts, remember your word or apartment may only have one syllable or room. Begin building or tearing down each room. Start with the first syllable, first room. 4, is that first syllable a prefix, A prefix is a group of letters that come at the beginning of a word to change its meaning. We will discuss prefixes in detail in Chapter 2. Number 5. In that first syllable room, if you were breaking down the word, begin tearing down the walls that you encounter first. If you were building words, begin putting up your first wall. Start at the beginning of the word part or word. First, decide if there are walls. Consonants are our walls and will be represented by a brick wall. Or if the room is an open syllable, starts with a vowel sound. Tear down or build beginning consonant walls first. Number 6. Progress to the middle of the word part or room. The middle is usually a vowel sound. What vowel sound do you want to build? Spelling, writing, speaking. Or what vowel sound do you want to tear down? Reading and listening for meaning. A, E, I, O, U. 7. Go to the ending of the word or word part. Determine if the room syllable is open, ends in a vowel sound, or closed, ends in a consonant sound as most will. Tear down or build up final consonant walls if the room has or needs them. Number 8. Go to the next syllable. Build or tear down the beginning, middle, and ending of every word room. If the last syllable is a suffix is a group of letters that come at the beginning of a word to change its meaning. That is the word work we will be undertaking as we move along. Again, do not worry. We will cover all these steps in detail as we proceed. So in a nutshell, the 3P process will include planning for construction of or dividing words into syllables or word rooms, building or tearing down each syllable word room from the beginning, middle, ending to provide or find each sound. From the sound, we will use or find the attached meaning. It is our goal of this learning journey to be able to recognize and use the 44 plus sounds that make the English language what it is. Let's review what we've learned so far about the 3 Ps. Have some paper handy to write your answers and possibly the questions on. You could add these review exercises to your word work journal later if you choose to create one. We will learn how to create a word work journal between Chapter 3 and Chapter 4. Please note, the answers to these and any of the following exercises will be found at the end of each chapter. I want you to practice your reading for comprehension. So, please attempt to answer using the memory of what you read. Then go back through the text to see if you answered correctly. Finally, check your answers in the answer sheets at the end of each chapter. Are you ready? Number 1. The smallest component of language is A. Sentence. B. Word. C. Syllable. Or D. Phoneme. Number 2. The process of connecting sound phonemes with symbols, letters, is A. Phonemic awareness, B. Phonological awareness, C. Phonics, or D. Spelling. Number 3. The 3P approach focuses on learning English through memorization and vocabulary. A. True. B. False. 4. When we are speaking and writing, we are encoding and building English words. A. True. B. False. Number 5. The first tier or level of the 3P process is phonological awareness. A. True. B. False. Number 6. We relate sounds to letters in phonemic awareness. A. True. B. False. Number 7. The 3P approach eliminates the need to understand the meaning of words. A. True. B. False. Number 8. Each syllable must have a vowel sound. A. True. B. False. Number 9. The first step in decoding or breaking down multi-syllable words is to A. Chunk, divide the word into syllables, word rooms. B. Determine the meaning of the word. C. Find the middle of each word part. Or D. Find the phonemes. Number 10. How many sounds in the English language? A. 44 or more. B. 24. C. 20. D. 26. Great job. You completed your first review exercise. You will find the answers to the review questions on page 34. The intention for our learning journey together is to focus on the sounds that come in the beginning, middle, and ending of word parts. This is what I call the 3P approach. Before we go further into the sound, we're going to take a U-turn and go back to sight recognition, vocabulary, and the meaning of words. We cannot talk about building or breaking down words without talking about affixes and word roots. Affixes and word roots, however, are not all about the sound. They are about the meaning of words. So let's veer away from sound and explore word parts by their meaning. We'll be back to making it all about the sound in Chapter 3.